Hello guys, welcome back to round 3 of Modern FNM at GameSwap in Mason, Ohio, brought to you by Top Deck Productions. For round 3 we have Black White 8 Rack versus Abzan Death Shadow.
Yeah, they call it Black White the Rack.
No, White Black the Rack.
White Black the Rack.
White
that's
Black
what, that's
the
what they
Rack.
call it. How could I? Oh, look, we got the Aaron Burr shirt from Luke Borgemenke here.
Nice.
Interesting choice.
He'd be my pick for president.
Yeah.
Back in 1800.
Yeah.
So we've seen Luke before take down a Death Shadow deck with this Rack deck. It's a really good metagame call, and it's really good against Death Shadow.
Yeah. Though I think unlike the last time we saw this against Death Shadow, this Abzan deck that Chris is on ostensibly has better answers than what we watched, because
Sure.
we watched a variant of Death Shadow that I think did not have Abrupt Decay, right? Whereas
Yeah,
this
I don't
time
think so.
around, we've got the Abrupt Decay, and that's actually huge here because it takes care of, Liliana's Caress or Shrieking Affliction, the Rack itself.
Right.
It takes care of Luke's Myth Realized that we know
Oh
he's
yeah,
playing.
yes. So part of the reason Luke is splashing white in his Rack deck is for the Cons block enchantment. Or
Yeah,
it's from
I think it's a
Dragon itself.
one drop
Yeah.
white
One drop,
enchantment.
Myth Realized.
Yeah, it's sort of like there's cards. There's actually a new. I actually thought about this the other day. I thought about Luke's deck because I saw the spoiler for the new. There's a new 2-mana enchantment that becomes a 3/3 Drake.
Oh right, yeah, it's like an artifact or something. Maybe.
Yeah, I think it's an enchantment.
Okay.
But it becomes a Drake over. It's sort of like Glint Hawk Idol, right?
It's like
But
yeah, Glint Hawk Idol, sure.
And I think then that Drake has that enchantment has like a 4-mana activated ability to like scry or something.
Yeah.
But that would be relevant here too. But the reason that Luke plays that type of card, an enchantment that becomes a creature, is because he doesn't have to sacrifice it to smallpox.
Right.
So it's pretty neat. I in my mind, as soon as I saw that new card spoiled, the blue enchantment that becomes a 3/3 flyer, I was sort of theory crafting a blue-black the Rack.
Blue-black the Rack.
Blue-black
sure.
the Rack.
But then you don't get
Black. They call it black and blue. Bruises. That's the name of the deck. Bruises.
I hope that you get that somewhere.
Also, I might not be allowed to say this on camera, but do you know why they call the deck 8 Rack? So they call it 8 Rack because there are 4 Racks and 4 Shrieking Afflictions, right?
Sure.
Well, at some points in the deck's history, it's been called 12 Rack. And sometimes they even call it 16 Rack. And when you call the deck 12 or 16 Rack, some of the racks you're referring to are Liliana Liliana of the Veil's racks.
Sure.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, I think we're good.
All right, so who's on the play? I missed that.
I don't know, but Luke Mulligan to 6. I know that. Liliana's Caress, is that the name of the card? Or is it Shrieking Affliction? That's
What do you mean?
the other Rack.
Oh yeah, so Shrieking Affliction's a rack. The Rack is a rack. Liliana of the Veil.
Oh.
No, I
okay.
mean she has a rack.
Right. I thought you.
that's what it's.
I thought you meant the art on the card, which on Lily obviously is
Yeah,
the
Liliana.
case.
Yeah, she's got. But yeah, and then I think the 4th rack that in 16 Rack, I think you're referring to.
I don't know what the 4th Rack.
I think when you say 16 Rack, you're referring to maybe the Liliana's Caress.
I don't think anyone plays that though. Chris is on the play, by the way, and Luke kept his 6, so that's good. Also, we did something with the lighting to change the glare, so hopefully it's better this game. We our stream runner jury rigged an umbrella to cover the light to prevent it from affecting the play space. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah, he actually so yeah, we learned actually I just learned that Star City Games also uses a jerry-rigged umbrella on top of this. When they go to convention centers that are too bright, they have to put an umbrella on top of the rig to filter the light.
So it's better. There's still a little bit of glare at the bottom, but we can see a lot more cards. So he's got 2 Wrench Mines, a Lingering Souls, and a Thoughtseize, and one other card.
Yeah, Wrench Mine, for those who don't know, is a 2-mana Mind Rot for black that your opponent has to discard 2 unless they discard an artifact. If Chris has Mishra's Bauble, that could actually be that could be he could just discard a Mishra's Bauble. That could be good.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't, then Wrench Mine is pretty good here.
Thinking hard over this decision. Yeah, I mean, basically every card in Luke's hand is the same. I might just take the Thoughtseize. Yeah, there we go. So he's also got a Fatal Push, 2 Wrench Mines, and a Lingering Souls. Land off the top. All right, well, that'll let him cast this stuff at least. He does not have one of his, namesake rack effects.
Yep, not
of any sort.
Yeah, not even one of the 12.
I don't think our Wrench Mine friend here has a rack. The crazy, whatever the hell that Phyrexian thing is getting melted. I don't know what the art on that card is, but it's a weird thing. So Luke's gonna fetch the tapped Godless Shrine here. Yeah, I think I would have just saved my fetch land, and in case I needed to get it untapped to Fatal Push something here on turn 2, but to each their own. So let's see what Chris is going to do on his turn 2. With Abzan Death Shadow, I feel like you're playing maybe a little bit more of a mid-range game. You probably are playing Tarmogoyf and maybe a Scavenging Ooze or something along that line. The Grixis, the more typical Grixis Death Shadow, it feels more like a Legacy deck because every single card in the deck is like 1 mana, which makes it able to play a mid-range game, but I don't know, it just seems a little bit different than the Abzan version.
Sure.
Does Chris have a second land? He's maybe debating very.
Yeah, I think he's got a Temple Garden he can shock in, but I'm not certain. Yeah, he's got a Temple Garden.
I think you're shocking in if you're on Death Shadow, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird because if you don't have the Death Shadow in hand, you got to protect your life total against these rack decks because they can attack your life total very viciously.
Yeah, here's a Scavenging Ooze.
Scavenging Ooze is big here.
So
that's gonna make this Lingering Souls a lot worse. It's also gonna stop anything like Raven's Crime from Luke.
It is likely going to get Fatal Push.
Yeah, it's likely gonna eat the Fatal Push though.
So a Condemn there from Luke.
I think we've been over this interaction before, but how do you push an Ooze? I mean, what do you do?
You just kind of stick your hands into it.
It's like taking a Jello shot, I guess.
Yeah, pushing an Ooze and start bringing that to parties. We're not pushing the Ooze though. We're Wrench Mining Chris. All right. He could just put some creatures in his graveyard to eat with the Ooze. Well, there's Street Wraith and Fatal Push. Yeah, Fatal Push doesn't seem too good here.
Yeah, I think Luke is maybe only now just learning that this is
his opponent's on Death Shadow.
That his opponent's on Death Shadow.
Yeah, I mean from this start it could be anything.
I mean who knows? Street Wraith is a very good mid-range card.
It's true.
That an Abzan
Swamp Walk.
Abzan, right?
Good call.
I mean 5 mana 3/4 Swamp Walk is that's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
It's a nice fringe mid-range option.
And Luke actually missed the ability to push this Ooze on his first turn because he aggressively cracked his fetch main phase to get a tap land. He could have just cracked it to get an untap land and Fatal Push the Ooze, but he wanted to preserve his life total, I guess, and is now going to get hit for 2, which is the damage he would have taken.
He's going to take 3 because he's going to eat that Street Wraith, not leaving any damage on the table.
Ooze is hungry.
Yeah, you thought it was hungry hippos.
Hungry
more like
Ooze.
hungry Ooze. Was that a Hangerback Walker?
No, it's another
okay.
Fatal Push.
I thought that I was certain. I was almost certain that was.
You were on it with the Hangerback Walker.
I was 88% certain that was not just a regular Hangerback Walker, but a masterpiece.
Another Wrench Mine. And okay, well, yeah, we are. Chris is discarding his hand. There goes Path. There goes Liliana.
So
of the Veil.
It's really kind of dangerous for Luke to be doing this because if his opponent, if Chris just top decks a hand disruption spell here, he can take the Fatal Push, and that Ooze is going to present a real problem.
Although we do know now
that
Luke has 2 Fatal Pushes.
Oh yeah, because that wasn't a Hangerback Walker.
It was not. No,
I forgot.
I think that was the that weird card we saw. It's like Blackmail maybe.
Blackmail. Yeah, Blackmail. For those who don't know, it's kind of an unpopular discard spell, but it's sort of the next best option here.
I think that's what that is.
That's a Midnight Charm. I'm pretty sure that's a Midnight Charm.
A Midnight Charm.
Yeah.
Is that also a discard card in Instant Speed 1?
Yeah, Midnight Charm is a Funeral Charm. Is what it is. Yeah. I think it's like a Piracy Charm. It's what Piracy Charm was color shifted to.
Okay.
So Piracy Charm is gives Island Walk, but Funeral Charm gives Swamp Walk, and then it also gives +2/-1, and then discard a card. Yeah. The +2/-1's nice, obviously for killing mana dorks, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then obviously discard a card is good.
So I think Luke was actually playing a really nice line here. He was not using his Fatal Push because if he condemns the Ooze, it keeps Chris further away from Death Shadow, which is what he's going to do here.
Sure, but I'm not sure how much that matters because, I mean,
it buys him some time.
Sure, but Luke has to kill his opponent with Shrieking Afflictions in a rack.
That's true.
But we went over this last time we watched a Death Shadow rack matchup. I mean, definitionally, the way that the decks attack each other, you are gonna see a very interesting series of turns that have very strange combat math.
Right.
Well, not combat math, but just
damage math.
Yeah, racing math. Because of the way that the rack and Shrieking Affliction kill your opponent compared to the way that Death Shadow kills your opponent. It's actually one of the weirdest things I've ever watched in Magic. But there's no way for, it doesn't make sense for Luke to be bolstering his opponent's life totals so he can prevent him from playing Death Shadows. No matter what, any single turn that Chris plays a handful of Death Shadows, unless Luke is able to amass something like, unless Luke is like holding on to 4 rack effects and drops them all in one turn, it doesn't matter. They both necessarily deal damage to one another incrementally, except for when they do it all at once.
Sure. So we see the first rack effect, that Shrieking Affliction there, is going to get killed by Chris's Abrupt Decay. And Chris's last card in hand is a Death Shadow, but he's not going to be able to cast it even through this fetch land because of the life you gain from Ooze and the Condemn.
Yeah, so this is one of the reasons that the rack, why people don't love playing these decks or playing against them, is because you end up in these situations where nobody has any cards in hand.
Nobody is doing anything.
Yeah.
Both players run out of resources, and you're just...
And unlike a Jund player with Liliana of the Veil, at least the Jund player has something and is doing something.
Sure.
But sometimes the rack, when they're just wrench minding you, nobody's doing anything. But the Lingering Souls is good here. He did find his 3rd land. Okay, and Chris does have the Mishra's Bauble. He could be discarding those to wrench mines.
And later,
but unfortunately, he only just now has the Mishra's Bauble.
Gonna look at the top card of Luke's deck, get a little bit of information. I think I look at the top card of my own deck.
Yeah, he has a fetch land.
That way I can fetch away if I don't like it.
Yeah, I think that's the right move. Unless Chris thinks he needs to be playing around something here. But yeah, with the fetch land there, Mishra's Bauble on yourself is pretty good. In some ways, it's like pondering.
Sure. In some ways.
Yeah, Mishra's Bauble, not quite as good as Ponder, but...
So we're going to see the Spirits attack for 2. Chris goes to 17. And, another Lingering Soul? No, Lily the Veil. That's pretty good here.
So looks like someone in chat's maybe a little weary about the using dice for life totals. The players can always keep their life totals on their own at the feature match here. The reason the dice or the die are used is because they're visible to the camera. So it helps not only the person operating the stream see the life totals, but also is an intuitive way to see them easily for all players, even when the life totals aren't updated digitally. Yeah, but I agree though with you. I'm not wild about players leaving their hands revealed. To me it's sort of like it's like the antithesis of competitive Magic. And I know that it's Friday night and casual here, but I dislike when players leave their hands revealed. It also just makes it tough to watch because you don't someone casually
if you just glance by.
Yeah, if you casually walk by, you don't exactly know what's happening. You're like, is that a graveyard? Is that an exile pile? Are those in play?
Oof, Lingering Souls off the top. Wow. So I'm pretty sure Chris can't come back in this game unless he has like mainboard Damnation.
Or mainboard Golgari Charm.
Sure. Discarded all of his cards with Liliana. He's got endless flyers beating him down. And that was a Lingering Souls off the top too. Now I'm going to flashback once. There's still 4 more of those guys where that came from.
Ooh, a fetch land off the top. Chris almost plays it, but decides he wants to bluff instead.
All right.
I'm surprised we haven't seen Chris crack his fetch land here as Martial Arts that's in play. Obviously, having 1 less life can change the clock here for Luke, but you do thin your deck.
Yeah, you want to be drawing down lands here.
Yeah, and it's mathematically it's very minor the amount of deck thinning that's done, but I think you got to do it here.
Shrieking Affliction now, bringing the pain.
Yep.
And Chris is probably going to be dead next turn. 6 spirits, Shrieking Affliction, more spirits in the graveyard. Liliana ready to ultimate. Yeah. We're going to game 2.
So I do want to mention earlier when I was describing 16 rack, I was actually incorrect. Well, I'm not sure if I was incorrect because I think my analysis is correct in some way. But 16 rack actually refers to playing the rack, playing Shrieking Affliction, and playing Quest for the Nile Stone, as well as Nezumi Short Fang, both of which are semi-rack Shrieking Affliction effects.
Okay.
So those are the 16 racks. I think the Liliana thing must have been a self-creation.
You just made that one up.
Or, yeah,
Nice.
or maybe
All right.
maybe a joke I heard.
Great
I don't
joke.
know, but
You can spread that to all your
Yeah.
Magic events.
yeah,
Get it known.
yeah. But yeah. No, anyway.
So Chris likely, well, hopefully, he has the potential to have a lot of very good sideboard options here. Golgari Charm, real good. We've not seen people play that. People don't like to play Golgari Charm because there's better things in almost everything, but Golgari Charm is very flexible. I like it.
I think Golgari Charm
I
is one
play
of
it
the
in
best
my
black-green
modern deck.
sideboard cards. I think it's incredibly good. It's too versatile. I mean, it just, would you rather play a Nature's Claim and, a Night of Soul's Betrayal when you could occupy both those slots
Right.
with, 1 or 2 Golgari Charms? And obviously Night of Soul's Betrayal, well, that's a bad example, but, these black-green decks play things like Drown in Sorrow and
Flaying Tendrils.
And frankly, Golgari Charm serves so many overlapping roles that
Right.
let's say a deck was going to play 2 Nature's Claim and 2 Flaying Tendrils. Well, why not just play 1 Nature's Claim, 1 Flaying Tendrils, and 2 Golgari Charms?
Yeah.
Or
like that.
something like that. The Golgari Charm is just so versatile. I really, really like the card. And even when you're not using it for what you specifically brought it in for, there's almost no way for it to not have use in a match.
Right. Even just like
regenerating creatures you
regenerating
control.
your guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like even if you could bring that in specifically to fight against Supreme Verdict or something. Like
Sure.
let's say an Esper deck. Maybe you brought in the Golgari Charm for the Lingering Souls, but you can still use it to regenerate against a
regenerate your
Supreme
team for
Verdict.
Supreme Verdict, yeah.
Or you can use it to blow up a Detention Sphere.
Yeah.
With the enchant. I mean, it's just the card is just it's got every line of attack. It's hard to imagine a Magic game where your opponent does not have any enchantments, has no X1 creatures,
And doesn't kill your
and
creatures.
does not attack. Yeah, does not damage your creatures.
Yeah, there's not many decks like that.
So yeah, I'm a big fan of the card. An instant speed, man.
Yeah, that's true.
2 mana. Blow your X1s up at instant speed. It's pretty dope. Do you remember when people used to play the card Illness in the Ranks in Modern?
I don't know what that is, so no.
It's a 1 mana enchantment that gives creature tokens -1/-1. I think it's one of the worst cards I've ever seen. I mean, it's a cool card. It does it was fun. It was okay in standard, but
Good
for
against
me,
Lingering Souls.
Illness in the Ranks was just like I would see decks playing it, even black-green decks, and I'm like, can you please just go get a Golgari Charm? Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what do you? I just Illness in the Ranks does not make sense to me.
All right, well, Luke does not want to keep the 5-lander there. And it looks like Chris is also going to take his mulligan to 6. Yeah, Luke's hand was like 4 lands, Inquisition, and Lily maybe. Too slow. Not enough stuff.
4 lands Inquisition.
5 lands.
5 lands, right?
Yeah.
Well, so yeah. So 5 lands Inquisition Lily's not the worst thing in the world, but
Illness turned off Splinter Twin? Well, sure.
that's true.
But Golgari Charm also turns off Splinter Twin for
Yeah, Golgari Charm. Golgari
Oh, it
Charm
does.
literally.
It destroys
it
Splinter
not only prevents kills Pestermites and prevents Exarch from killing you, but you can blow up
You can
Splinter
blow up
Twin.
Splinter Twin
You can
itself,
literally
yeah.
blow up Splinter Twin with Golgari Charm. So I don't want to hear it. Illness in the Ranks is bad news, Bears. Don't play it.
What about a Virulent play? Creature tokens get -2/-2.
What is that? Is it like 3 or 4 mana?
I think it's 3 mana.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
So we'll see if the players like their 6. Now I think we're on the. Oh no, Luke's hand is. Yeah, I think we were on the no-lander there. Not where you want to be. I have to imagine the rack is very low on lands. I would say like 20-21 maybe, which I think that's low.
I think that's low.
I'm not too familiar with mana bases in Modern, but I have noticed that it often runs off few lands because it has to, because of the cards it plays. But it also I see them only getting a lot due to lack of mana. Of course, that's just the natural variance, but
Yeah, I mean it helps when you got a bunch of Mishra's Baubles and Street Wraiths. Unlike Grixis Death Shadow, where you've got to have an island or a Street Wraith, this deck can have if you got a hand with 2 Mishra's Baubles and 2 Street Wraiths, or even 3 of those cards and no lands, you can probably keep it. But
I was talking about the rack deck being low on lands.
oh, the rack deck.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know how many lands you play in a rack deck.
I think it's few though, because I often see them mulligan and they have to run low on lands just because all their cards like are super low mana cost. I guess you need some for to survive your own smallpox and
to me Raven's Crime seems like, I mean, just by playing 3 or 4 Raven's Crimes main board, maybe only play 2, I don't know, but playing some number of Raven's Crime main board makes it seem to me like you wouldn't mind having 22 or 23, even 24 lands, but maybe not.
So we'll see. Luke does keep his 5. I think looks all right. I don't know. He's got a Path. He's got a Raven's Crime. Quite a few lands, but
now Raven's Crime's all you need sometimes. I mean, that card's good. Though it's not necessarily good against Abzan. It's a little better against Grixis because they got the counter magic.
Right.
But
so Luke in the basic swamp here, and he's gonna leave with Thoughtseize.
Thoughtseize, that's a good turn 1 play for sure.
In Chris's hand, is it a Fulminator Mage?
Yeah, it is a Fulminator Mage. I'm not sure if he thinks he can take his opponent entirely off white.
Yeah, maybe.
It's also true that Luke probably has Mutavault, but we don't know. We didn't see any Mutavaults game 1, did we?
No. Double Lily, Path, Fulminator. Probably just take one of the Lilianas.
Yeah.
Left in Paths? That doesn't seem great.
Well, so
we
don't know how many Paths were left in, and the fact about these rack decks is if you are really good at playing against them, you might have to worry about Pack Rat.
Right. Or like we saw the last time Luke was on, the Asylum Visitor was in.
Yeah, Asylum Visitor, yeah. Sometimes these rack decks transform from black-white rack into black-white rat.
Rat?
Yeah, black-white Pack Rat.
Wow.
Or pack,
you were just on it with the
they call the deck rack. They call the deck white black rack pack. I need to stop.
I think Chris drew a Collective Brutality per turn.
So that seems good, right? That seems, but you also have to discard your own. If he's going to do anything more than duress his opponent.
I don't know if you drain. Going with basic force.
I don't think you drain. I think. Now I do want to say I made the mistake of calling it duress. As I mentioned last week, it is not a duress. And don't try to scumbag your opponent by telling them it's a duress.
When you're playing your Russian foil Collective Brutality.
Yeah.
It reads, you can take an instant or sorcery, not any non-creature.
Yeah, but so I think Chris might just use that mode here to try to take I don't know, take some hand disruption or something, or take a wrench mind. But you really don't want to escalate it here, right? I mean,
well,
to drain, because escalating it to drain. I mean, what are you going to discard? You don't want to discard.
You probably
cards.
discard your Path. That's not going to do anything in the matchup.
I think you gotta hold on to your Path.
Yeah, maybe. He did just fetch a basic force though instead of Temple Guard, so it looks like Chris is not keen on his Path at least. So we see Blessed Alliance and Raven's.
Well, it looks like you're taking the Blessed Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't really take the Raven's Crime here because it doesn't do anything for you.
Yeah, it just gets retraced.
That might even be worse than Thoughtseizing your opponent's Lingering Souls. In fact, it's definitely worse than Thoughtseizing your opponent's Lingering Souls. So we'll see Chris think about it. I think he's maybe just...
Given Chris's hand, it's Lily, Path. I don't remember what the last card was we saw.
I suppose there is a choice to be made here. Luke is on 1 land.
Fulminator, that's what it is.
Luke is on 1 land, and it has 2 more in hand. Without top-decking lands, by taking the Raven's Crime, you might effectively stop Luke from making you discard too many cards.
Yeah.
But that... I just can't imagine you...
Well, he goes with the Raven's Crime.
Okay, well, we'll see how that plays out. Maybe there's something I'm missing here, but...
I mean, he definitely doesn't care about Blessed Alliance at this point because he's got no creatures and he's got no...
Well, true, but he's gonna have it. I mean,
yeah,
if he doesn't have any creatures, he's not winning the game anyway.
So Luke did draw the Raven's Crime off the top there, though.
Oh, jeez, it's even worse.
That's real bad.
Yeah, I like taking the Blessed Alliance there. You can't win the game through a Blessed Alliance's Death Shadow already anyway. So you know it's gonna stall you a bunch.
So this is gonna be interesting on Luke's or Chris's part here. He can either decide to keep Fulminator Mage or a Liliana in hand. Oh, okay, never mind. Luke is not going to make him discard the other card. Did he draw land off the top? Does not look like it. Playing Liliana here would have been huge for Chris.
So I think Luke, I think Chris now knowing about the, yeah, I think he's gonna try to Fulminator this. If he has a land, he's gonna try to Fulminator this, the white source here. Yeah, and that could be good.
Unfortunately, he is now facing down Liliana.
Yeah, but yeah, Liliana's gonna be a beating here.
He's gonna discard Stony Silence.
Maybe
misunderstood how the rack works.
Yeah, Stony Silence does not shut down the rack.
And drawing 2 back-to-back is definitely not where you wanted to be right now. Seems like a poor shuffling in that case. I think that was another Stony Silence he draw. Could be wrong, but it looked quite similar. Yeah.
Huh. Well, that would be especially rough because it's not going to do a whole lot here. If anything, it shuts off his own Mishra's Bobble.
Yeah, that might be the only interaction it has.
That's tough. Yeah,
I think he did draw.
Yeah. So everyone knows the way the rack works, it's just an upkeep trigger. You take damage equal to I think 3 minus the number of cards you have in hand. So yeah, Stony Silence doesn't stop it because there are no activated abilities involved. I'm trying to think if there is a card that Luke is playing that Stony Silence does shut down.
Does Timely Reinforcements literally do nothing if you're up on life?
No, if you have fewer creatures, you get guys.
But it still gains you 6 life regardless, right?
Oh yeah. If you're low, if you're down on life, you would go up 6. Yeah.
Okay, so Chris. Or Luke just decides to discard it there instead of casting it because it literally would have done nothing for him.
Yeah. If that spell resolved at this point right here, yeah, it would do literal nothing.
Yeah. So Chris has the opportunity to get his Fulminator down or his own Liliana.
Yeah, I think the Liliana race. Well, it's not really a race. I don't see.
I don't know. This is a tough decision.
Yeah, I think.
I think I go Fulminator blow up the white source.
Yeah, because the Liliana.
Then you lose your Liliana though. Yeah.
Well, you don't lose. You only lose. So, it's interesting because the Liliana's permanent destruction ultimate won't do much. What's really threatening about the Lily in this case is using the sacrifice ability 5 times in a row.
Sure. Yeah.
In fact, if I were Luke, you don't even want to use the Lily's ultimate until you're at like 7 or 8 loyalty. You just want to hold up those sacrifices. So
I think maybe, I think if I was Chris, I play Fulminator here. I don't blow it up quite yet.
Yeah, you want to try to you want to make him lose.
In case he sacks.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I think you're right, Mario. If you play the Fulminator and then you make Luke, you sort of force Luke if he does
something. Yeah.
Yeah. You force Luke to use the sacrifice, go down 2 loyalty, and then in response you blow up the concealed courtyard.
But instead, Chris is just gonna discard his own Fulminator. All right. Well, hopefully he tops specs better than this land that Luke just got.
Yeah. The thing is here is that Luke, Luke, if he wanted to use the ultimate,
I was about to say this. Chris does have Abrupt Decay in his deck, which gives him an advantage that Luke does not have.
But he didn't know that was off the top, right?
It was, but he did. Yeah. He knew he had that as an out potentially.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this is fine. This is interesting now. Oh Jesus, baby. Well, now Luke, fortunately for Chris, can't flash that back yet, but that's bad. I think you just make him sack one of these here.
Sure.
Do you make him sack one of these here? That's bad. I think you just make him sack. You go to 3 loyalty.
Tough. You maybe just tick up and try to outrun him. Hope you find an answer or something. No, he's gonna make him sack. All right.
This is where Golgari Charm would be great because, as we know, Golgari Charm kills Shrieking Affliction, and you would also have the versatility here of killing these souls.
I wonder if Chris has Lingering Souls in his deck.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
I just saw one. Yeah. Well, I thought that was a Deathrite Shaman, but that's probably not right.
So that I'm reaching pretty far here, but maybe Chris just put those Stony Silences in his deck, didn't take anything out, just to have more discard fodder.
That's right. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Chris is on 75 cards.
He just brought them in, just so he had less of a chance of drawing his good cards, so he wouldn't have to discard them.
That's a play. That's a line.
Golgari Charm does belong in every greenback sideboard. Thank you for agreeing with us.
Seriously, I mean it's wonderful. Who said that?
He was joking, but.
Oh, okay. Well, Dang. I thought an actual.
Yes, last modern rest in peace gone. You know what Golgari Charm does? It kills rest in
Yeah,
peace.
it kills rest in peace. That's right. Man, I thought
it is the king of the sideboards.
I thought an actual viewer was giving credence to my beliefs here, but it was just our stream operator.
Well, we left in those pats and we got some value on taking out these spirit token.
Oh, that's the sick 4-for-1. Yeah, what you need.
I think it's a 1 for 1/4.
Right, a 1-for-1. Yes, which, as we all know, is a 4-for-1.
Sure.
For those of us who understand proportions.
Lily's keeping the climb.
Yeah.
Not quite dead. Oh, really?
Yeah, a
loses a rush mine.
A Liliana that has enough loyalty can deal with the lingering souls.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be easy.
Down she goes to 1. I think Luke drew another land, maybe. Oof.
Is that a brutality?
I don't know.
If that's a brutality, you
Yeah,
can use it and then plus up Lily, and Lily will
keep it
survive,
forever,
and then you can make him sack the last token, or just plus up again and then make him sack it the next turn. That's interesting. I think that is a brutality.
Maybe not. It was a Death Shadow. Unfortunate, Chris only had 13.
He's hit 13 life.
Ooh.
Oh, jeez, awkward. Oh, man. Oh, jeez.
Here's the rack.
Gosh.
Yikes.
I think you just don't you. I guess it's tough. You can't really leave the rack in your hand there. Sorry, you can't leave Death Shadow in your hand there, hoping Luke will swing at you eventually, because your opponent has a bunch of discard, and also they have Raven's Crime for their lands. Jeez,
Chris found something.
This is brutal. Okay, well that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So I think you do you plus up here, or are you just gonna die?
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess you got to make him sack.
Yeah, you might as well. It saves you a point of damage because they have to kill Lily.
But next turn, Chris is gonna take 4. I don't even think Luke. I think Luke swings at Chris. I don't think you even care about the Lily.
Sure. Yeah, at this point.
I think Luke swings at Chris here.
No, he's gonna take out Lily.
All right, whatever.
I think Luke drew a fatal push.
I guess it's a 3-turn.
A small pox, okay. Sacrificing his spirit? Oh, he's just hoping to win off the rack? Well, all right.
Well, so what's interesting there is if you don't... So Luke could have had a 2-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock if he did not cast small pox at all.
Yeah, but if Chris finds it
and swings for 4...
Yeah, we almost went the delirium here. So here's Grimflayer. The problem is Chris only has 1 more turn of draws. If he finds an abrupt decay off the top, right, he gets to get rid of the rack and maybe.
So it's probably not relevant, but hear me out here. If Luke leaves his soul on the board there and the rack, and Chris is at 9 life, he goes 4, 4, and then on that second turn, second main phase, after he swings for 4, or does 1 damage, swings for 1, hits for 3 with the rack, then you cast Smallpox and win the game in 2 turns instead of 3.
Abrupt decay off the top is going to be.
Mishra's Bobble, not quite quick.
That does give him a redraw, actually, because he'll draw the card at the upkeep, right?
But he'll still take 2 damage.
No, the next upkeep, right? So when he draws it.
Oh yeah, he'll draw it during
during
Luke's upkeep.
It's got to be an abrupt decay or some other artifact destruction.
It's a land, I think.
It's a land. Yeah, that's game. The rack taking on another Death Shadow as its victim.
Yeah, black.
They should re-art that card and just put the avatar getting stretched out across the rack.
What do we say this deck is called? Wait, what did you say?
They should re-art the rack and just have Death Shadow getting stretched out, stretched out among the torture device.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you put those those amorphous limbs onto a rack, but who knows? Yeah. So what's the
white
this deck
black
is
the rack?
White black the rat pack.
You're wrong.
Yeah, well, anyway, it's certainly a good meta call here.
Yeah,
I think this is the second time we've watched.
Second time we've seen, and the third time overall we've seen a rack deck beat a Death Shadow deck.
Yeah.
So if your meta is filled with Death Shadow, you might want to take a look at the rack. I don't think it's particularly expensive, other than the Lily of the Veils. But the rest of the deck is probably fairly cheap.
Yeah,
actually.
and you don't even need Liliana of the Veil because she's not even a good card. Just kidding. It's probably the best card in the deck, and you kind of have to have 4 of them. But truthfully, I mean, Mario, you're right. I think if you get those lilies for $60 a piece, that might be that's like 80% of the cost of the deck right there.
Yeah, probably.
You know, some stuff can start to pile up like Mutavaults, etc. But
Yeah, it's a pretty good option to Death Shadow.
Yeah.
All right, so that is gonna do it for round 3. We see Luke on the rack take down Death Shadow 2-0.
Yeah, let us know in chat if there are any decks you want to see. We can do some snooping around, see who's available to meet your needs. And don't forget to check out, like we mentioned earlier, the Patreon. Top Deck has a Patreon. You can get involved supporting the stream that way. People do sustaining memberships, one-time contributions, and there's actually an awards program.
Yeah, you can get some packs if you
yeah,
support
so I think it's all on the website, but yeah, I think you can get some sealed product payouts, you know, with varying levels of contribution. And then we're also a Top Deck affiliate now, so you can a Twitch affiliate. Excuse me, yeah, Top Deck is a Twitch affiliate.
So you can subscribe that way.
Yep. All right. Well, yeah, round 3 coming up soon here. So so don't round 4.
Round 4 will be coming up shortly.
Gosh,
yes.
Am I even? What time is it? Where am I?
We're gonna have a long night here. Thanks, guys.